because you're so empowered in your sport that you are so empowered in your relationships. You have the courage to do big things because remember, how you do anything, you do everything. Claudia Ramirez, empowering you to become the optimal leader of your life. Let's turn on the Mindset Mic. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 47 of Mindset Mic. Let's talk about sport and self-esteem. What is the correlation between them? What to look out for and how to cultivate a healthy self-esteem. Whether you're an athlete listening or a coach supporting athletes, let me tell you, I'm actually writing a book, and this is a huge topic in the book. I emphasize on this so much in my coaching programs, and it is a huge part of my courses and any training that I ever get my hands on and create. Why? Because people think that your success starts with your gutsy behavior or your goals or your self-belief or no. I always like to say this: self-esteem will make you or break you. You decide what that's going to be, but your self-esteem is either going to make you or break you. When I look at my journey, I know that my highest highs, my biggest successes, and my strongest failures, or lessons, if you want to call them that, always came from my self-esteem. My healthy self-esteem or my very low self-esteem, and how that correlated to other areas of my life, and how other areas of my life mimicked or created a rhythm or making up for what was going on in other areas of my life. So let's dive into this because it's very important. First and foremost, as an athlete, you are in the optimal space already, in the sense that you're in sport, you're challenging yourself, you are quite literally getting better every single day. I had a coach who used to always say, you either get better or worse, but you never stay the same. He was quoting someone, I don't remember who it was, but and you choose what that is. So if you're choosing to get better, you're choosing sport, you're choosing to show up to practice, you're choosing to have a good attitude, you're choosing to put in the training in, during, before, after, that you are already in an ideal state, in an ideal position to improve your self-esteem, to be in that healthy space when it comes to that area of our mindset. Now, let's flip it over and think about how can our other areas of our life impact our sport. This is where we start paying attention, right? I want you to imagine a cake. I'm kind of like in the mood for a cake. So I want you to imagine a cake. And sure, can you have all the cake at once? Yeah. You'll probably feel sick. You probably won't want to do it again. You probably love it, but you can't do it all the time. That cake is if you focus all of your life on sports, on fitness, on performance of that sense. Split that cake into slices. One of them is sport. One of them is lifestyle. One of them is your nutrition. One of them is your relationships. One of them is your career or your schooling, your academics. You have different areas, different slices of the cake to focus on. And together they make you who you are. And many times athletes, we make the mistake of identifying ourselves with sports and sports only. This is why you see people who went to high school and I hate to say it, peaked in high school. They were the coolest person. They were the popular person. They were the person who everybody wanted to be friends with. They were always talked about. They're all over the yearbook. And then before you know it, you don't know about them. Why? Because they were so focused on just one thing. They didn't have coaches who taught them how to excel beyond sports. They had coaches who focused only on this next game and this next championship. Congratulations, you made us great. What did we ever do to make you great? And that is where it's at. So what happens is that life gets real. They don't know how to transfer those life sports stories to real life. And before you know it, life just gets kind of normal. And I hate to see it. I don't like it. But what happens if we start building the mindset of sports and self-esteem together for sports and beyond? What would happen there? How would you equip your athlete? How would you equip yourself as an athlete moving forward? How would that impact your quality of relationships? The choosing the right partner to be with in life, the choosing the right career, the choosing to let people treat you the way that you should be treated, the ability to dream, the ability to create the experiences that you wanted for yourself beyond sport. And let's bring it back to sport. Do you see that? It all comes down from our self-esteem, not from our ability to set goals, not from our affirmations in that sense, but from what we believe at our core. And that is where it's at. What to pay attention to, what to look out for. The obsessive behavior of I must win, I must win, I must win, I must win. And if I don't win, I'm not happy. I call it conditional happiness. I'll be happy when and if, right? It's a matter of being happy now and despite the outcome. That's what confidence is. Detach yourself from the outcome is what I like to say. And it's a very easy way to understand it and grasp that information. So now let's talk about on the other side when it comes to different areas in which it's impacted. Okay, the highs and the lows, the very high highs and the very low lows, right? I am very excited one day and I'm like on it, and then I'm like very low on the other. Listen, that was me. That was me. I had very hot seasons, and I had seasons towards the end of my last cross-country season was absolute whack. Absolute whack. So sad. I wish I could go back. I felt so sorry for myself half of the time. I was getting panic attacks all the time. Why? Because I was going through a very difficult time outside that I couldn't talk about. And so it affected my sports. It affected my mindset. It affected how I saw myself. It wasn't my coach's fault. It was life. It was me. It was a matter of not being able, not knowing how to control different things in life. So what happens when you really polish that self-esteem? You are more likely to avoid those hurtful moments in your life, in sport and beyond. What happens when you have a healthy self-esteem as an athlete? All of a sudden, sure, yes, you're going to give it your all, but does it matter if you don't hit the time? No, because you know your worth with or without it. Now let's work on some belief systems and other stuff for us to get there. But in the meantime, okay, it's fine. It's a lesson. It doesn't bring you down. How is this influencing you in and out of sport? Once we polish that self-esteem, and once we know that we are in a healthy space with that area of our life, it becomes simpler. It becomes easier. We have the courage to step on the line with confidence. We have the courage to dream, to believe, to empower others, to empower ourselves, to think about what the possibility is and not basically live day by day. And it's a really critical moment in sports that I wish we talked about more. Now, how can we cultivate and what not to do? How can we cultivate? Let's talk about what not to do first. What not to do. Let's stop comparing ourselves to one another. I remember when I was in, I think every runner has ever been in this position. You get to the line and there's always people who are like, are you fast? Are you fast? Hey, hi, are you fast? Because they're so uncertain about what's going to happen. They're so unsure of themselves that they're hoping somebody says, no, I'm not fast. And then they're going to have somebody to hang out in the back with, you know? And I remember I used to always be like, no, I'm not really fast. And there were other times where I did not, but it's okay. But everybody went through that. Are you fast? Are you fast? And it was just so funny that you finish the race and they're like, you were fast. But I was never really like the fastest. I don't think so. But it was just so funny because that shows insecurity. And look out for those things, right? Comparing yourself to others or comparing your athletes to others. The body shaming, the body shaming. Whether you're a parent listening, whether you're a coach listening, or whether you are yourself listening as an athlete, stop. Stop the body shaming. Stop the comments of, well, the holidays are coming up, so y'all be careful what you eat, especially you ladies. Ladies can put on weight a lot faster because whenever you strip down to spandex, you can hide it all you want under hoodies and t-shirts, but when you strip down to spandex, everybody can see it. That was literally exactly something that I heard multiple times. And then, of course, people look at themselves like, oh, I know that they're talking about me. And then you have little skinny me who's like, oh, that doesn't apply to me, so I'm going to stay skinny. And I'm going to, and that's a whole different like story. We'll talk about that later. I'm going to make a note of this, body image. And I do have guests lined up for this topic because it's so important. So what happens when somebody realizes that they're not the ideal, that quote unquote ideal? They start looking at themselves like that. And they start applying these negative thoughts and behaviors outside of their sport. And then that impacts the sport right back. And then all of a sudden you created this really negative cycle that isn't helping anybody. Because you didn't know how to address a topic with the right words. Imagine that. Creating what to do. Let's normalize speaking about our challenges. Instead of gossiping about what one athlete is going through, what you think you saw, what you think you heard, let's sit down as a collective and talk about what are the challenges that we have this week, what are the strengths that we have this week, where do you need help? Accountability, support, community is where it's at. I can tell you that if I had a moment where I could have sat down with my teammates and genuinely talked about what I was going through, I wouldn't have gone through what I went through. I would have been supported and I would have had the courage to continue moving up. But I didn't. So I felt shame. And so I dealt with it the best that I could. And sometimes you could pull yourself out and other times you can't. And what that something is, it could be a relationship, or it could be a test, or it could be struggles at work, family struggles, anything it could go. And so once we start getting clear on like communication, that really, really helps an athlete. Because all of a sudden, if you think about it, it's a job. Being an athlete is a job. And it's a positive thing, right? It's like you coming in to be, a DJ at a party and talking about your life problems with the person who's like DJing with you. Then it just feels wrong, right? Because it's supposed to be a happy environment. But how is it going to be a happy environment and a successful environment if we're not being honest about what we're going through? And so having community, not to talk about all of our problems, that's what therapy and counseling are for and coaching is for, but just for community and support as friends, that creates a really, really awesome space. Talking about personal goals and talking about where this can go and dreaming and bringing in coaching and bringing in speakers and recommending books, all of these things are going to help in the process. And I hope that it's something that you're willing to implement. It's so important that you get your self-esteem to a point in your life where you are solid. And where that cycle that we talked about before is a very positive cycle. because you're so empowered in your sport, that you are so empowered in your relationships. You have the courage to do big things because remember, how you do anything, you do everything. And so you're so empowered in your relationships, and then you're so empowered in your academics and your career, and you're so empowered in your lifestyle and your nutrition. And because of all of that, it comes right back to your sport, and you are the best athlete that you can be. And because you are the best athlete that you can be, it carries over to the other areas of your life once again. And when it's all said and done, you can just recreate it over and over and over and over. Think about that. Think about that. Do not sleep on self-esteem and sports. It's a key factor. I know that I talk about mindset in sports. If we get to the nitty-gritty, if we get to the deep, this is it. And I really hope that it has helped you. Please let me know what other topics you would like for me to cover. I will give you an honest thought, an honest statement. We are shifting. You're going to hear sports and mindset a lot. I am addressing athletes. I'm addressing coaches. If you are a former athlete, this is going to help you. If you are an athlete after sports, as in, for instance, like myself, this is going to help you. If you are an athlete recreationally, like you're running marathons and half marathons, or maybe you play pickleball, great. This is going to help you. And I hope that it serves you, but just know that I'm shifting, and I'm super clear on what I need to do and on what I want to do. And this is where it is. So I hope that you stay. If you would like a one-on-one coaching session with me, go to theclaudiaramirez.com/coaching, and we can talk about the deep and unique circumstances that you are in to help you in your mindset, in sport, in self-esteem, and other areas that go along with that. I would be so happy to serve you. Again, that is theclaudiaramirez.com/coaching. There is also a link down below. As always, keeping the optimal leader of your life. I love you. I believe in you. And I'll see you in the next one.